Welcome back, Wealth Builders. We're continuing here on our Ultimate Productivity Guide. I hope you guys are getting some value from this. And I've seen lots of things on productivity that, like, they tend to focus on these three. And interestingly, those three are the lowest impact, right? Which is the problem I have with a lot of productivity guides. So we're going to talk today. By the way, it's Michael Rosmer with Richucation. For those of you who are pirating these videos somehow, or somehow not involved, or don't realize who I am or who we are or whatever. We're going to talk today about skills. Okay, so this is the last piece of doing the right things, or doing those things right. Okay, and this is not one that we were really going to have too much to say about because it is mostly in our value mastery section. But of course, this has all been productivity. But really, does doing the right things or doing things right matter from a skills standpoint? Yeah, huge. Yeah, I think that's, my really horrible impression of Donald Trump. Very, very big deal, right? If I do not have the skills to do something, that's going to be an issue. And so we really want to pay attention to it. Where this comes in, I think most relevant probably, is circle of competence. Okay? So we've talked a lot about value mastery, and you can go and check out what we talked about there in terms of being able to learn quicker, and organizationally that should be very helpful. But the key piece here with circle of competence is stay within your circle of competence as much as possible. Know what your circle of competence is a Warren Buffett concept. Because here's where you get to reuse your skills. Okay, so it's kind of a built to last principle. All right? If you're able to stay within and just keep expanding that circle of competence, then all of a sudden you can go out and you can be like, okay, I don't have to relearn. Remember, learning is one of the things that's going to undermine our performance. It's very expensive to learn. Now, the best people, the most successful people are all learning machines. They're all continual learners. Okay, there's no one who's a top performer who's not a continual learner. It's impossible, because that's how you get there, right, is by learning. And that's how you stay there, is by learning. Garry Kasparov, who was the grandmaster of chess, or the world champion of chess for 20 years or something. Very elite chess player. Like, I remember somebody saying, there should almost, it's like there's grandmaster and then there's Kasparov. Like, amazing. Beat two grandmasters at the same time or something at one point in time. He's the guy who played Deep Blue. Very, very brilliant chess player. He said, one of the reasons he was able to stay at his top for so long was because he was harder on himself than his opponents were. Okay? So every time, the tendency is, when I know something, to get lazy. And the people who stay at the top, they're harder on themselves. They continue to push the envelope harder than the people who are coming after them. You have to consider the people who are coming after them have an advantage because they can learn from you. So they should be able to pick up a lot quicker. Okay? So you need to keep pushing that envelope over and over again. And that's easier to do when you have a circle of competence. You're going to be more efficient when you can stay inside that circle of competence. I'm not saying that you can't grow it, right? You definitely can and should, etc. Keep expanding your skills, your learning, etc. But the more skillful you are, and we're going to talk about, you can look at the 10,000 hour rule and the 20-hour rule in our section on value mastery. So, there's something you said for diminishing returns, etc. But if we want to maximize our productivity, we want to stay in areas as much as possible where we have circle of competence, or strategically go into other areas. All right? And of course, when you start out, you don't have any competence. This is one of the things. People will come out and they're like, do what you're good at. When you start out, you aren't good at anything. You suck. That's the whole point. You have to develop it. Okay? So become so good they can't ignore you. Then follow from there. And maybe that's from an area of curiosity, maybe it's an area of opportunity, right? But jump into something, and based on, probably those two are great, curiosity and opportunity. You follow those, and you develop great skill sets, and then you leverage those skill sets, and you just keep leveraging them, okay? Hopefully that's helpful. It's just, it's a very simple thing I just wanted to mention, because it's really what kind of completes this whole picture of doing those things right, okay? If you're not, it doesn't matter how much energy you have, how much focus you have, how much planning you do, if you do not know how to do the thing you're doing. Okay? When we were talking about crossing the river, if you don't know how to swim, you're in trouble. Okay? You might want to build to last the house and you don't know how to build the house. You know, house collapses, that was not very useful, right? If you have the skills to build the house, great. You don't have the skills to use the tools, no good. On and on and on. So skills are the last piece. It's kind of the fifth piece of this doing those things right. We've had a little bit, these two here, a little bit, well, I mean, developing skills is doing the right things too, right? So a little bit of crossover into doing the right things, but that's kind of the final and most important piece that we're going to discuss. Hopefully you guys got some big pieces from this, right? Hopefully, you know, very simple. The thing about energy management, for the most part, is it won't take you additional time. Okay? You just design your life and your productivity goes up. Focus, very similar, right? Focus is primarily about environment, right? To have your environment designed to support what it is that you're doing. Sometimes that means you need to be able to focus, you need clarity, other times it means you need to interact with people, okay? But you design your environment, even the rewards and pressure, etc., are things about your environment, right? So manage this. Again, for the most part, this will require a few changes. This might require changes too, but the difference is this can be steady, foundational in your life. It's not something additional you do. This is not anything extra. There might be some initial extra that you do here that has a big payoff, okay? This is extra, which makes it hard for people, right? This is definitely extra, but these things here, especially this one, has this compound value, okay? And these things together, like, you should be able to get at least 300%. Well, depending on how effective you are right now. If you're super effective right now, then okay, there's nothing we can so much do. But for most people, they can get probably like triple the results out of their time by managing these three effectively over the long term, right? So if you can include the built to last, like this, you know, most people can probably increase their productivity by 30% just through energy, through focus. They can probably, you know, another maybe 20%, that sort of thing. Maybe more, 20 to 50%, somewhere in that range, probably for both of these. Planning, you know, definitely can increase your productivity by 10+% for most people. As an organization, it becomes very, very valuable. These ones here are very individual. This is very organizational, okay? Same thing, very individual. This one, especially very organizational, okay? So be aware of this, really apply this as you, like, to scale, to grow, like we're talking about growing impact, having a big impact in the world, affecting a lot of people. Very, very important. All of this is very important, but this in particular, okay? So individual, group, definitely group, and we're going to get into the most important thing, the thing that blows all of this stuff away, which is all about doing the right thing. I hope that's helpful. We're going to see you guys on the next video.